Chicago is a city of green, a city that safeguards its precious environment. Welcome to Chicago at Play.
The landscape of Chicago has been sculpted by many, but most notably by Jens Jensen, whom many consider to be the father of the conservation movement.
Jens Jensen was a Danish immigrant who lived from 1860 to 1951. He came to Chicago and began as a laborer and worked his way up to the head of the West Parks in Chicago, redesigned the parks, and when he died in 1951, the New York Times described him as the Dean of American Landscape Architecture. Had he been alive, it would be his 150th birthday, and there are lots of different activities and events planned to celebrate his birthday and to help people learn about his wonderful legacy in Chicago's parks. Jens Jensen is often considered the Frank Lloyd Wright of landscapes. He created these prairie-style landscapes that are just as significant as the wonderful architectural work that Frank Lloyd Wright did. In Chicago, that includes Humboldt, Garfield, and Douglas parks, which were really the places where he experimented with his evolving style. And then he created a park that's largely considered his masterpiece, Columbus Park. It's just exquisite. It has a prairie river, kind of this long lagoon, and it begins at two waterfalls. And then kind of tucked between them was an outdoor stage. Jensen actually wanted people to perform theatrical events outside in nature, and so there was a little stage and little kind of changing areas, and then across the water was the area where the audience was meant to sit, right on the lawn.
Events running through October will honor the Jens Jensen legacy through a series of lectures and dramatic readings highlighting his work in Chicago. Most events will take place in Humboldt Park, an area Jensen called home.
Jens Jensen lived across the street from Humboldt Park, and it was always a very special place for him. He actually worked in the park before he became the head of the entire park system. And so we're going to do a lecture on the history of the park, and then one of the architects, Ed Therese, who worked on the restoration of the boathouse, is going to talk about the process of researching the building and restoring it. Dina Petrakis, who lives in the Humboldt Park neighborhood, became very enamored with Humboldt Park, and she took photographs of the park almost every day for a year. She titled her photographic essay, "A Year in Humboldt Park," and she has curated an exhibit which is in the boathouse, and it is just fascinating. It has many of the same scenes taken during various seasons, and it's really interesting just to see the way the landscape changes over the course of relatively short time.
The Garfield Park Conservatory is the jewel of Chicago's West Side, just one of the crowning achievements of Jensen's work.
And Jens Jensen designed the Garfield Park Conservatory, and it really is quite a remarkable place. So we decided that it would be a great venue to do a sneak preview of a new film called Jens Jensen, A Harmonious World. It's actually in production right now, so the filmmakers will be there. They'll be presenting excerpts of the film, and there'll be a discussion. Most of these events are free and open to the public. If you can't make it to any of them, or some of them, and you want to have an opportunity to learn more, there is a downloadable audio tour, which you can find on the Chicago Park District's website. It's a tour of Humboldt Park.
For more information on events planned for Jens Jensen's 150th birthday celebration, visit jensjensen.org.
Well, Jens Jensen was a really remarkable figure in Chicago's history. He created these incredible landscapes, and we're so lucky because many of them are still intact today.